A man walked in my home one Saturday morning and he was stumbling. I said, "Come on in, sit down." So he sat down at my kitchen table and began to tell me this bizarre story. He said, "Look, I've been watching a lot of pornography. I've been looking at little girls under 12 and doing things that I ought not to do. Do you understand?" I said, "Yeah, I do." He said, "I need to go tell them." I said, Ho. You're not going to tell anybody anything." He said, "What are you talking about?" I said, "You're not in your right mind right now. And I don't even know if you're not hallucinating." And he says, "Oh." I said, "Just settle down." And I said, "We need to take care of some things first, and then we'll talk about what you need to do." And he said, "Okay." I said, "I believe you got some devils." He said, "Yeah." He said, "I've lost my job, lost my wife, lost my kids, lost my house." He said, "I don't have any money and I'm desperate." And I said, "Well, we're fixing to fix that." So I cast some devils out of him. And every time I'd cast a devil out, spirit of lust, spirit of pornography, just ugly spirits, and I cast them out, and his face started shining a little bit, and his eyes began to straighten up. They weren't so dilated. Well, we got through. I said, "How you feel right now?" He said, "Well, I feel better." I said, "Won't you ask Jesus in your heart?" So he asked Jesus in his heart, wanting to know, is there anything else I need to do? I said, "No, you need to get born again." So he asked Jesus in his heart, and he said, "Now what?" And I said, "Well, this is the beginning of things. I'm going to pray for you for the baptism of the Holy Ghost." And I prayed for him for the baptism of the Holy Ghost, and he got filled. Well, a month later, he calls me. He says, "Hey, let me go take you to lunch." I said, "Okay, you got money?" He said, "Yeah." What had happened was God did a suddenly in his life. He got a new job that paid better, that he liked more. He was got his house back caught up to date again, talked to the real agency, mortgage company, and got that straightened out, and he got back on track with that. He didn't have his kids. His wife had left him for good, but that's all right. She tolerated it all she could. Nevertheless, his life has changed. What did I learn from that? Sometimes you can be a catalyst for somebody to help them go forward. And one of the worst things he could have done was begin to confess to some little 12-year-old girls that didn't need to know any of that kind of perverse stuff. So now his life is so totally changed that anytime he's out of town or he comes back to town, "Hey, let me take you to lunch." It's okay. And we talk about those good things. Well, let me tell you, the days where the caterpillar and the palmer worm have taken over and destroyed your life, this is the day of restoration, where God restores the day the caterpillar and the palmer worm have destroyed you. And if you'll remember that, you can help people get free from addictions like this man had. Now, his life was going downhill. It wouldn't have been long before he might not be here on this planet. God stepped in just in time. And he'll do it for you, and he'll do it for anybody else. Also, you need to be somebody that, rather than judging them, is help them get through a hard time. Because once they're there, the devil's got a hook in them, and he's not going to let go unless he's commanded to. So God bless you guys, and go in peace. Set the captives free. Love you. Bye.